Hello, everyone, and welcome to Planmeca's Digital Dentistry Virtual World Tour. We are so excited to have so many of you online today. Several thousand participants from all over the world. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is André Noël Chaker, and I have the great pleasure of being your host. We have a great program lined up for you, with the latest technologies, insights, and ongoing developments in digital dentistry. We also have a very robust digital platform for you to interact with us, starting with the different languages that are offered for this special event, and you can find those just above the screen. We also have an opportunity for you to send questions and comments on the chat function, which is on the right side of your screen. And finally, if you want to have a private one-to-one conversation, that is also possible, and you need to go to the bottom right of your screen under Private Chat with Planmeca. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome the Vice President of Sales at Planmeca to join me here in the studio, Jouko Nykänen. Welcome to the Planmeca studio, Jouko.
Thank you very much, Andre. Pleasure to be here.
We are definitely living exceptional times, but you have lived very many different kinds of situations during your long career at Planmeca. This is the first totally virtual event. Are you excited?
Absolutely. We are very, very excited. And actually, it has been always my dream and my hope to meet all our customers at once. And now in these unusual circumstances, we do have a chance for that, thanks to the new technology what we are using. And I think we will do fine tonight.
Absolutely. And speaking of new technology, why don't we show everybody the kind of new technology that we have here in the studio?
Sure.
And at the count of three, let's do something that everybody around the world has been doing this year. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Boom!
There we go.
And the elbow pump. And as you can see, we're moving from green to digital screen. And what a screen it is, like the great screens that we have in many of the Planmeca products.
Wonderful.
As we mentioned, the World Tour has been organized before at Planmeca in different locations. Of course, they were live events, but this is the first time that this is a virtual event. And so we asked Planmeca's president and founder, Heikki Kyöstilä, to say a few words about what he thinks about this new approach.
Good evening from Helsinki. It is great to have you all with us tonight. It has always been very important for us to meet customers at events around the world, and especially to welcome you as guests here in Helsinki. Right now it is difficult, so we decided to meet you all virtually. This has been a very difficult year for everyone, but I'm very happy that so many of you are online with us today. I hope that this event will make the global Planmeca family even stronger. All our innovations are created with one thing in mind: to help your daily workflow. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the show.
Thank you, Mr. Kyöstilä. And Jouko, it's amazing to think that he founded this company 50 years ago, and it's still run as a family business and a family-owned and family-minded company. And tonight, for the first time, the offerings are being presented completely virtually. So, Jouko, for this very special event, what are our objectives?
Well, we are very proud of our offering, and we strongly believe that our concept represents the new generation in dentistry service and technology. And what we will show tonight is how our machines and technology greatly improves the work of dentists and customer experience of the patients all around the world. So we believe and we hope that all our audience who are watching us tonight would leave tonight from the event with strong belief, sharing our vision.
Thank you, Jouko, and on with the show. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we will move to each one of the local greetings in that part of our program. And after this, we will come back together on one track in several languages. And now it's my pleasure to have both the Vice President of Sales back in the studio, Jouko Nykänen, together with Mr. X-Ray, Timo Müller. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Andre.
Thank you, Andre.
Jouko, we know that Planmeca is very active around the world, but in how many countries do you sell exactly?
Oh, it's so numerous that even hard to count. But I could say that over the first 50 years, Planmeca has really grown into one of the leading companies in the industry. And it has been family-owned company since the day one, which is very important for us. Now we are present practically everywhere with our fully digital product range, selling to more than 120 countries. Our home base is still in Finland, where we do all our main operations, such as manufacturing and R&D. And that is very important. I think that when we are in Finland, work as a one team under the same roof, all the ideas flow very freely, and we can truly secure the quality for our clients. And very importantly, we have, of course, and we need vast number of close distribution partners around the world. And this is our critical task to secure that our end users worldwide can all experience the same great Planmeca experience, no matter where they are located. And these are truly the matters of our heart in our work every day, and they determine our success.
You know, you really do have impressive global presence. But if we look at the differences between your customers around the world, you know, what are those differences perhaps also in the way dentistry is practiced everywhere in the world?
Well, we like to think that dentistry unites, and we don't like to talk about differences as much. And I think that most dentists, no matter where they are, in which continent, which country, they are actually having pretty similar daily problems and challenges to solve and for us to contribute. And they have the similar dreams to achieve. So we would like to look at these things on a level of individual dentist and patient more carefully, and how we can really contribute there. And as a family-owned company, we want to be very approachable, and we always like to get close to our partners and users to hear their thoughts. And clinicians everywhere have come to appreciate how easy our Planmeca software-driven all-in-one solution is to use. And it offers incredible benefits for all treatment steps.
So if we put all the differences aside, what are the common denominators that bring all of the Planmeca customers together globally?
Well, we all know the challenges today. Dental industry is not free from these common challenges, which are related especially for the safety of the patients and treatment teams, and then about the future revenues and cash flows. And we can say that our kind of high-quality modern digital treatment concept and environment with well-designed, integrated, hygienic, ergonomic and efficient concept can greatly contribute to overcoming these challenges.
And what about on the radiology front? You know, what are these common denominators?
Well, in radiology, certain key principles should be followed around the world in order to ensure the best possible patient safety and diagnosis. Our strong dedication to R&D has allowed us to create imaging units that offer ideal balance between image quality and patient doses.
Well, fantastic, gentlemen. Thank you very much. It is certainly one very large global village when it comes to a passion for digital dentistry. We will now have 3 eye-opening sessions with some very accomplished digital dentistry professionals. This digital trio is in South Carolina, and they have these opening words for us. Over to you, doctors.
Hi everybody at Helsinki. We're super excited to be with you today. I'm here with Dr. Manito and Dr. Evans, and we are going to basically dive deep into what we do in our practices on a daily basis. For those of you who don't know, my name is Wally Renee. I'm the Assistant Dean of Innovation and Digital Dentistry at the Medical University of South Carolina, where it's my pride and joy to be able to teach dental students how to use this fun technology and how to better care for patients with this technology that we have available. And it's really important that you guys know that we are just so pumped to be here today and just to try to show you what we do.
Yeah, my name's Tony Manito. We all work together, which is like a dream come true, to get to use this technology, to get to teach this technology, and to do it with some of your good friends and to learn from them as well is fantastic. I teach CAD/CAM dentistry here at the university. Our students are able to do single visit CAD/CAM restorations using the Planmeca Fit system, which is really rare for an undergraduate college to be able to teach such things. So we're really proud of that.
Yeah.
And I'm Zach Evans. I'm a periodontist and the director of the Masters of Science in Dentistry program here at MUSC. And I apply these digital tools and the Planmeca system on the surgical side, mainly for implant planning. And it's really exciting to be able to kind of tie all those technologies together for teaching, but also, as a group within our private practice. For me, it's really been a secret to my clinical success.
So sit back and relax. I hope you all enjoy. It's just really our pride and joy to be able to show you what we do on a daily basis.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you to all three of you. You make us feel really excited about what is coming up. We start with our first workflow on smile design with Dr. Wally Renee. He holds the title of Digital Dentist of the Year 2019, and his overview of the tools and technology he uses for new patient consultation is just incredible. Dr. Renee, let the digital consultation begin.
I am super pumped to be here to talk to you about how I integrate digital dentistry into my practice. When we have the opportunity to differentiate ourselves and to do something truly unique for our patients, it really comes out to benefit the practice and our patients at the same time. So I'm going to walk you through kind of what I do for my new patient consultation. This particular patient presented to me and wanted some implants and also was concerned about their smile and the aesthetics of their existing teeth. And so I'm going to walk you through kind of how I do these consultations, which I usually schedule about an hour and a half. And my whole goal when I do a consultation is, number one, to really differentiate myself from the other practitioners, because patients are really shopping around. For example, this patient had already been to several different dentists before me. And I want to let them know that I do things a little different. And one way that I am different is I create basically a digital twin of my patient. And this digital twin is there with me that I could treatment plan and do anything that I need to while the patient's not in the chair. So it could be fabricating surgical guides, or it could be creating digital mock-ups and things like that. So the first step to basically creating a digital twin of your patient is going to start with some quality photographs. So we're going to have to digitize our patient. And the way that I do that initially is just with some simple photographs. And one way that I like to do this is with DSLRs. In this case, it's not really important what camera you use. It's more about the flash and the lens than it is the actual camera. But I have plenty of different cameras that I like to use. Some are dedicated for posterior, some are anterior. And it actually could be quite complicated with the various different flashes and diffusers and cameras. And so I really like to use the Solana Vision. For those of you who don't know, the Solana Vision is essentially an operatory light that is future-proof. It has two 4K video lenses that you could create high-definition stills, or you could create high-definition videos that could be zoomed in, and you could show patients all sorts of things, such as you could record phonetics and speech, and you can show them previews of their smile. And it's always nice to show video as opposed to 2D stills, because patients really get a better understanding of how their potential future teeth will look like if you show them a preview in a video format. So we'll show that a little later. But I really do think this camera simplifies everything because it's integrated within Romexis. So every video and every still that you take is instantly recorded in the patient's electronic health record. And you could edit the videos, you could edit the lighting and the color and the contrast, and you could annotate. It's just really cool what you could do with the Solana Vision. It's been a game changer. Basically, every patient that comes in, the first thing I'm doing is snapping some videos and some stills of that patient. And it also really helps later on down the road when you want to show before and afters. And so the next step to digitizing my patient is going to be to generate some high quality intraoral scans. And there's a lot of different scanners on the market that you could pick from and use with Romexis because Romexis is completely open. But I think for me, one of my favorite scanners to scan with is the Emerald S. Planmeca has done a ton with this scanner recently with updated software algorithms and global alignment features, artificial intelligence, soft tissue removal. It's become one of the most accurate scanners on the market, and it's definitely also increased in speed. I'm just going to show you, this is just a real-time video here, nothing edited or sped up. And the first thing is you want to have a retractor in place when you scan, and you want the teeth dry. But you can see here, this thing just flies across the mouth. It's remarkable how fast this is. It's been really fun to scan with. The tip is really small compared to some other scanners on the market, and it tracks soft tissue remarkably well. I don't often get lost at all with this scanner. It's usually one continuous scan without any drops in scanning and things like that. It's really fun to scan with. One thing that's really unique is that it's one of the lightest scanners on the market, so it's pretty much lighter than the iPhone 12 Pro. Which comes in handy if, every new patient that I have, I'm scanning complete arch scans. It's nice to have something light. What you're also going to notice is that the camera is able to take high definition photos as it's scanning. So all you do is click a button and it's able to take some photos. So later on, if you wanted to have some talking points with the patient about certain things, you can show them that. It scans really well on soft tissue. It's amazing what this scanner could do. It's one of the most fun parts of my day is when I get to pick up the scanner and just start scanning. I used to dread impressions, alginate and physical impressions. I just dread them almost as much as my patients did. With intraoral scanning, it's been kind of revitalized me in my practice. I love it. And so you can see here, we have a 1 minute scan for this complete arch. We've captured everything that we would need diagnostically, and we have such a crisp, high definition model here. So now I'm going to capture the opposing dentition. And by the way, this patient is sitting in an i5 chair. If you guys don't know about this chair, the first thing every patient says when they sit in this chair is, "This is so comfortable." In fact, that's exactly what this patient said when they sat in this chair. In addition to that, what's really cool about this chair, in addition to the integration with the scanner, so it's all integrated within the unit itself with dual screens, so you could see what you're doing. You don't have to necessarily have a laptop and drag that around. Everything's integrated. It also has its own self-contained water purification system. So especially in light of COVID-19, we have really cool systems in place with this chair that make me feel better about what I'm doing to avoid cross-contamination of water lines and things like that. So very, very cool. So now here we are, and it's been under a minute, and we've scanned the complete arch on the lower, and watched the artificial intelligence algorithm delete all the extraneous soft tissue from the model instantly. And so now we have a high definition model rendered, and look at the stone view here, how crisp the STL file is. It's amazing. It's amazing how fast this thing is. That was I don't know, like a sub 1 minute scan. So now we're going to work on the bite, and Planmeca has spent a lot of time on the bite articulation algorithms. You could take multiple bites if you wanted to. You could take an open bite, a closed bite, centric relation, maximum intercuspation, whatever you want. In this case, I'm taking an MIP bite here, and we're going to render that in. What a fantastic experience for the patient. They've been to other dentists and had alginates made for their consultation, so they were commenting on how awesome it was. Now, the scanner's fast, but is it accurate? And this is a recent study that was done at the Medical University of South Carolina, and we basically compared all the different scanners on the market. And what we found was that the new software in the Emerald S, 6.2 or higher, 6.21 or higher, is going to be insanely accurate cross-arch, so complete arch scan. It's not statistically different from the Prime Scan or the Trios 4 or the Trios 3. So you're right up there with other scanners on the market, and you're able to basically, for a lot less money, have just as accurate of a scanner. So it's a phenomenal scanner. Been super happy with it. Now, so, we have the accuracy and the speed, but what's cool about this scanner is it's integrated with Romexis. So now here I am in Romexis, which is basically your Do Anything software. And I'm doing a smile design, and the patient's sitting next to me chair side, and we're going to do this together with the patient's involvement because I really like to include them in this. And it's actually really fast because it's remarkably simple. Here I am pinning the extraoral photograph of the smile with the retracted view here. And the software is really smart at pinning these two separate photos together. And we're going to go ahead and alter these silhouettes based off of a few things. One is what the patient is telling me he wants. And two is what is reasonably achievable with prosthetics without having to do extensive, in this case, the patient has been in ortho for 6 years and does not want to go back into orthodontics. And so we know that when we're doing this, we need to be realistic, and we need to work with where the teeth are in the patient's face. So we're going to do some minor tooth movements, some aesthetic crown lengthening on the incisors, and we're going to go ahead and lengthen the central incisors. And so we're going back and forth, and the patient's giving me their feedback on what they like and what they don't like, and we're going to really have the patient involved in this smile design. I like this as opposed to some other smile designs, which basically just put somebody else's teeth in the patient's mouth, because it's a little bit more realistic on what's achievable, what I could achieve. So now here I am with the smile silhouette exported, and I'm in PlanCAD Easy, also within Romexis, with just a click of a button. And I'm just going to go ahead and melt down the incisal edges to match my silhouette. And I'm going to go ahead and modify some of the contours really quick. And I like this software. PlanCAD Easy actually is one of my favorite CAD softwares, and I have them all because of this right here, how fast it is to instantly add surface texture into detail the way that I like to do it. I have my own style of teeth that I like, and the software gives you very nice proposals, but then I like to customize them. For example, here I just paint an area, and I could move that area exactly where I want it, just that area, without distorting the rest of the design. I could add surface texture and anatomy the way that I want to, and I could accentuate my embrasure forms and my lobes just the way that I like to for this particular patient. And so it has all the power that I need, and it's really fast. And so from this, it's also open. I'm able to export these all as STL files, and then I'm going to combine them into one model and 3D print this. And this model will 3D print in around 18 to 20 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and make a putty wash of it and transfer it to the patient's mouth, all in the same appointment. Now, if you wanted some more power, with a click of a button, all the files transfer over instantly and automatically to PlanCAD Premium. And in PlanCAD Premium, you could sculpt and you have a lot more power. You have basically an unlimited library of different anatomies that you could work with. You could do chain mode where you could move teeth without having to mark margins here, because we call these anatomic ponics. And so we don't have to spend time marking finish lines, and we could just do an additive wax up instantly by almost like setting denture teeth on the model. And of course, what's really cool is that you still could superimpose your smile design silhouette that you already did and check it out and see how close you are to what you had planned. And so you could see here we have to do a few little things, and then we're off to 3D printing this as well. Now, PlanCAD Premium, you could do unlimited amount of meshes. You could import face scans. You could import STL files from CBCT renderings. You could basically do anything in the software, dentures and hybrid prosthetics, and basically it's unlimited what you could do. So here I am. Now, I decided to print the one that I did in PlanCAD Easy because, to be honest with you, that's what I do for most of my patients, unless I'm doing full mouth reconstruction or hybrid prosthetic or something like that. So here I am on the Creo C5, and we're gonna pop this sucker off and go ahead and put it in some alcohol, clean it up, and we're gonna go ahead and make a putty wash of it. Really, really cool. The detail that this thing prints in is amazing. So here we're gonna go ahead and, this is some polyvinyl siloxane putty, and we're gonna do an initial adaptation, and we're gonna let that set up, and then we're gonna do a light body wash with an additional layer of polyvinyl. So here you can see the final product. And what we're going to do now with this product is we're going to essentially transfer this to the patient's mouth, and they're going to be able to try their smile that we designed together live at this appointment, this initial consultation appointment. Like I said, I like to schedule about an hour and a half for everything. And typically when patients leave, they're blown away. They usually ask me if they could keep these teeth. And the answer is no. Usually I don't send them home with these teeth because I can't predict when they're going to break or fall off or anything like that. But I have about a 99, maybe 98% case acceptance rate when I do this. And it's been really nice also establishing this relationship with this patient and patients when you do these kind of things, because they're usually very excited to see what would be the potential, what you could do for them. And so here we are, we're letting this set up for about 2 minutes, and we're gonna go ahead and peel this off. And what's gonna happen, because of the accuracy of the intraoral scan and the wax up, you are gonna have no trimming to do. And the material is going to break away right at the gingiva, and there's literally gonna be nothing that you have to do. It's amazing how little cleanup you have to do when you do this. It's really accurate, and it shows that the scanner and the printer working together synergistically are very, very accurate. So we're going to pop this off, and this is going to be, we're going to do some close-ups of the unaltered, untouched smile design. Okay, so a little bit of flash there just peels right off. And without taking a handpiece to this thing or an instrument, I'm going to show you what we get right out of the bat. So let's take a look. I love to capture some video with the Solana vision of the patient speaking, laughing, smiling with their new teeth. Patients love to see this. It really does help convey the emotion that the patient's going through right now when they're seeing their smile like this, after having been in braces for so long and having missing teeth, congenitally missing teeth and short teeth and all sorts of issues going on. Now, as you can see, we have a pretty good aesthetic result. Now you could take a handpiece to this and add some surface texture and anatomy if you choose. You could also edit it. So if you needed to edit, and then you could rescan that as an intraoral scan, and you could use that as a record as well. So now when I break this off, I like to break it off in sections so the patient could see just the profound difference of exactly what we were doing with the before and after, where one side is done and one side's not done. And you could see just the profound difference for this patient. Now, while the model is 3D printing, we're going to go ahead and we usually take a CBCT. In this case, we're using the VISO. And if you don't know, the VISO it's a remarkable system where it has augmented reality patient positioning, where you could see live the patient's face on the screen and just select the area that you want to expose. So there's really no guesswork that's done when you're trying to expose the patient. It's been a game changer. In addition to that, it has the calm algorithm. So patients are usually shaky or move, especially after implant placement and sedations. And with the calm algorithm, we don't have to retake CBCTs anymore. There's been so many times I can't tell you in the past where patients have moved and we looked at it and it was non-diagnostic. And so it really lets us be more efficient. So now here we are in Romexis, and what's cool in Romexis 6 is that all the patient information is available in this kind of Rolodex view. And you just double click on the file and you instantly go to that module. So that was smile design. So now we're clicking on the CBCT and we're instantly going to the 3D module. It's so cool the way they organize this. And now I'm going to go through the CBCT with the patient, and I'm going to talk to them. Their existing implants, for example, have some fenestrations and perforations on the buccal plate. We have all sorts of issues, and we're going tooth by tooth with this patient. I'm talking to them about everything that I see, and I could assure you their last consultations, nobody did this with them. So this patient was just blown away. And we even see some idiopathic osteosclerosis there, and we're going to go ahead and highlight that. If you were unsure what that was, you could hit a click of a button and send off for a pathology report by a board-certified oral radiologist. And so, it's just so cool to be able to sit down with the patients and go through their mouth like this and show them potential issues. For example, there's some dehiscence on the lower implants, and we have to talk about that. So now the patient's interested in getting some teeth And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly throw in some implants here and see what kind of bone we're looking at. And we could look at implant-centric view. We could even throw up our wax up, which was just waxed, and see where these are going to be coming out of the wax up. And of course, as Dr. Evans is going to show you, you could go ahead and fabricate a surgical guide real quick. But in this case, this is just a consultation appointment. So I'm just trying to prepare the patient of what they might need in the future, potential bone grafting or sinus lifts and things like that. And the patient's sitting with me as I do this. And like I said, you talk about wow factor. When patients see this versus the last doc who just snapped some alginates and sent them home, these patients are blown away for sure. So now we merge the intraoral scan. We merged the diagnostic wax up for that site number 4-5 area. And we could explain to the patient, this is why you need a molar-shaped tooth. You don't have enough room for 2 implants there, even though you're missing tooth 4 and 5. We could explain all that kind of stuff and help them understand. What's cool also is that you could overlay 2D with 3D. Basically, everything is instantly available in this patient record. You could even throw in some face scans, some 3D face scans, whether it was made with the ProFace or with the Bellis app or basically anything. You could throw in any mesh, OBJ, STL, Ply. The sky is the limit, what you could do with this technology. So I hope I gave you a little preview of what a new patient consult looks like in a high-tech office and how to be a little bit different with what you do. And it's just been a joy to be able to use this technology and to help my patients with it. So thank you so much for spending the time.
Thank you, Dr. Renee. Wow, what a powerful display of how these digital tools can transform both the patient and the dentist experience. And now I'd like to welcome a couple of key members of the Planmeca Global Sales Team, Sami Pulin and Jens Hendren, to discuss what we just saw.
Thank you, Andre.
Thank you.
Good to have you guys here. We know that infection control is a crucial element when we're talking about dental units, especially in the current COVID situation, obviously. But what should clinicians consider, from this perspective when selecting equipment to work with?
Well, you mainly need to consider surface disinfection, waterline cleaning, suction tube cleaning, and the air itself in the room.
Our dental units have our customers covered on all these fronts. For surface disinfection, they have a nice and smooth epoxy-painted surface that's easy to wipe clean. And we also have autoclavable barrier protection where needed, such as under the instruments and the operating light handles.
We also have many options for waterline cleaning. We can go from periodic shock treatments to systems that continuously feed the cleaning solution to the unit.
And the integrated suction tube system that we have, suction tube cleaning system that we have in this unit here is superb. It ensures full contact between the tube surfaces and the cleaning solution for 2 minutes, killing all bacteria.
As for the air in the dental treatment room, we have seen plenty of our customers going from turbines to micromotors to reduce the spray and also decommission the bowl to avoid spitting.
Well, we've already heard a lot about Planmeca's digital tools for imaging, diagnostics, and treatment planning. But how about the dental units themselves? Do they also have a digital aspect?
All our products have a digital aspect. The dental unit can be part of the network, just like any of our other hardware, and report the usage information to our Romexis software.
Many of our larger customers, like clinic chains and dental colleges, really appreciate this. This gives them the possibility to track the usage levels of equipment, and also they can keep track of the service needs, for example.
Another fun digital benefit we have is that we can use ID cards to log into individual dental units. So it means I can easily upload my own preferences, my pre-programmed positions for the chair, instrument behavior, OP light behavior, and so on, into any dental unit where I work, which is of course beneficial in a large practice where there's many different rooms where I can work a day.
Using the same technology, we can even track the usage levels of individual handpieces just by reading their ID by the dental unit.
And you can control your computer directly from the dental unit graphical user interface if you want to.
Very impressive, guys. But hey, I know that patients greatly appreciate the exceptional comfort of the dental unit chairs. Now, I know I tried it a few times, very comfortable. But what about the treatment staff? How comfortable are Planmeca dental units working for them?
It's all about getting the small detail right. For example, in our system, we have the instrument delivery console and the instrument arm very close to the oral cavity by design of the dental unit.
There's also a lot of space under the backrest of the chair, so there's plenty of space for the legs, especially needed when you work four-handed dentistry. And of course, there's also plenty of room to get the position of the foot control right.
And the narrowing backrest here allows the dental treatment team to get very close to the patient. And that also helps them to avoid these strenuous class 4, class 5 ergonomic movements.
The over-the-patient operating light can very easily and flexibly be positioned without any glare or disturbing shadows. And the color temperature is also very easy to set according to user preference.
And speaking about the light, Jens, the Solana Vision light has an integrated camera, if I understand correctly. Does it also have other functions?
Well, there's a microphone, so you can record audio as well as visuals.
The light also has two cameras, so we get these stereoscopic images. And of course, all the future software development updates are very exciting and
there's lots of possibilities.
Lots of possibilities.
I mean, we could push it further towards becoming an information hub that's conveniently located right above the head of the patient.
And I've seen impression systems that you usually have like on a cart, and you push them between rooms. But the integrated scanner can also be connected directly to the dental unit. And what is the benefit of that?
When you're gloved up, you really want to touch as few surfaces as possible. Having the intraoral scanner connected to the dental unit, having the patient in the chair and foot control available, you can offer great ergonomics and patient comfort and just enjoy the smooth workflow. Everything connected to the dental unit.
But at the end of the day, it's still the same scanner, so you can also easily use it independently. It has a USB connection, so you can unplug it, take it with you, share it between rooms, as long as the IT is properly set up in the different rooms.
Well, that was really enlightening. Thank you so much, Jens. Thank you, Sami. Great stuff. Thank you very, very much. Before we move on to the next workflow, I'd like to remind you to send your questions and comments on the chat. The Planmeca team is very happy to interact with you. We now have Dr. Zach Evans with an exciting digital journey towards implant success. Let's listen to Dr. Evans on guided implant surgery.
Hey again, everybody. I'm Zach Evans, and I really am excited to be part of this Planmeca Digital Dentistry World Tour. As a periodontist, I find that my formula for implant surgical success relies on my ability to do prosthetically driven implant planning and surgical guide fabrication and guided surgery. And I find that tying together all aspects of digital dentistry within one easy-to-use platform really makes that possible. Wally's already introduced it, but let's take a deeper dive into digital implant planning. The first piece of information we need to capture from our patients is a high-quality cone beam CT scan so that we can see all of the underlying anatomy. Ideally, we would like these images to have exceptional resolution, have a low dose of radiation to the patient, and also be very easy to capture. And using a scanner like the Viso shown here allows us to do all those things very easily, including even creating custom fields of capture with the touch of your finger. There's no doubt that these CBCT units are the foundation for my surgical practice. The next important piece of information we need from these patients is to capture intraoral scans. Having these digital models of the patient's dentition and soft tissues will allow us to do our prosthetically driven planning, but also give us surfaces on which we can build surgical guides. At these initial patient consultation appointments, we're typically capturing full arch scans when we're doing intraoral scanning, along with a digital bite registration. And for me, someone who doesn't have a lot of digital and intraoral scanner experience, I find that having a scanner that's fast and easy to use, like the Emerald S, is a real benefit. So now we have everything we need to plan our case. In this case, the patient had previously had tooth number 4, or tooth number 15 for our international friends, extracted due to vertical root fracture, and we did ridge preservation grafting at the time of extraction. And here we are 12 weeks later. We brought her in for her initial consultation. We did our intraoral scans, captured the CBCT, and now we're looking at these images of the intraoral scans in PlanCat Easy, and we're going to do a really quick but powerful digital wax up so that we have an idea of what the future restoration should look like. And this includes a couple key features. Where we're drawing now is defining the future gingival margin, where the abutment and prosthesis will emerge from and through the soft tissue, because that's a critical landmark for us to determine platform depth of our implant when we're planning. We're also going to look at overall contour and shape and size and occlusion in this case, so that we have all of that information when we're considering where the perfect implant position and emergence should exist. The software helps us by generating a proposal of what the ideal tooth looks like, and all we have to do from there is really just make some fine-tune adjustments. This video is in real time, it's not sped up, and I emphasize that point because myself, as someone who does not do CAD/CAM dentistry, can make this process efficient enough that it's worth it, even for a posterior single site like this one, where we would typically just do freehand implant surgery. So for the investment of time of just a couple minutes, I can have an exact idea of what this tooth should look like to help me plan my implant later. And this includes looking at the occlusion. And here we have our bite registration digitally, and we can even look at a cross-section of the tooth and develop that cusp-fossa relationship and make a clear determination of where the central groove of the occlusal surface would be, because there's such important landmarks for where we would want that implant to emerge. The biggest benefit we get from this process is, of course, planning multi-unit implant cases or even full arch edentulous cases. But we've done research to show that even for a single site like this one, doing a full diagnostic wax up can lead to differences and improvements in the end result in terms of implant planning, even when we're doing guided implant placement. And here we go. This is exactly what we need to plan our case. We can continue making fine adjustments if we would like, especially if we want to use this wax up to generate a temporary restoration for our implant. I've started doing this entire planning process chairside. I find that when the patient is sitting there watching, number one, there's a wow factor. And number two, they really get invested in the process. And I find that as a side effect of that, the case acceptance rate really goes up. Once the wax up is complete, we need to bring that into the 3D world with our CBCT so that we can plan our implant placement. When I'm setting up my CT scan for viewing and for planning, I have a step-by-step process that I like to do. And this is the implant planning module within the Romexa software. The first thing I do is set up a panoramic curve so that I can view cross-sections of the CT scan on the alveolar ridge where we're working. Once that's done, we need to import in the 3D image of the scanned arch that we're going to be working on. Planmeca has created a really efficient tool, a fit model module, that allows us to do this by clicking common data points between the intraoral scan and the CBCT to give the computer enough information to align the two images together and then do a fine-tuning algorithm to create a perfect match. I used to pay a service to do this step for me, and indeed some software systems require you to do that. However, now that I've started doing it myself, I prefer to do it that way. Number one, because it's so quick and efficient. And number two, because I'm able to verify the quality of the merge that I wouldn't want to do it any other way. And all we have to do to verify the quality of the fit is to scroll through our panoramic curve cross sections from one side of the arch to the other and examine the overlay of the intraoral scan with the CBCT. And you can see here that the fit is perfect throughout. I do recommend in these cases to do full arch intraoral scans and merge those with the CBCT in which you've captured the entire full arch so that you can verify the quality of the merge. To bring our wax up in, all we have to do is repeat the process and just click the existing match button because that positional data is built in. And now we have a perfect overlay, a representation of the patient overall that includes the three-dimensional hard tissue anatomy, the intraoral scan of the dentition and soft tissues, as well as the custom wax up that we've created. We have all of the landmarks we need to successfully digitally plan the perfect implant position. Planmeca works with implant manufacturers from all over the world so that you have access to a digital model of whatever implant system you like to work with. I like to set up my implant planning view just like this, with the lower left panel being the implant-centric view, and the lower right panel being the volume rendering merged with our intraoral scan and our digital wax up, so that as we make changes to the implant position, we can see how this translates in real time to how that implant would emerge through the restoration. And this could even include the position of the screw access hole through that restoration to allow us to plan that in even greater detail. For those of us who do freehand implant surgery, this might be all the information we need. We can see where the ideal implant position would be. We can determine where the emergence would exist, and we can see the adjacent anatomy and even really help us plan what the ideal implant size would be in this case. However, if we want to proceed and fabricate a surgical guide so that we can do this case with guided implant surgery, the next step would be to add a surgical guide sleeve to the implant. All we have to do is choose the appropriate sleeve from the menu that would correspond to our guided implant surgery kit that we have, and define the ideal drill length for the site and for the position. Once that is dialed in, we have everything we need, all the information to proceed with surgical guide fabrication. There's a lot of flexibility built in this guided system where we can do anything from a pilot guided case where we just want to establish the initial osteotomy position to potentially a full arch case where we need stabilization pins. And for a single unit case like this, we can even rotate the sleeve to better fit the site, but also define implant timing if that's compatible with your implant system, especially if you want to integrate in immediate temporization or custom healing abutments. And like when we're doing the wax up, I really like sharing this part of the process with the patient. I find that they become better informed and they really like the peace of mind of knowing that we're using this technology to improve the outcome, but also that they're part of the planning process. Once we have this done, we can move forward with Planmeca's surgical guide design module. And this is a step-by-step process that is really intuitive and easy and quick, and I find is also powerful enough to accommodate really complicated surgical design cases. To start planning our surgical guide, we select the area of the dentition we want covered by the surgical guide. For a posterior case like this, I strongly recommend extending the guide to the posterior of the contralateral side of the arch so that you have stabilization of the guide and more area for you and your assistant to place and stabilize the guide during surgery. Once the computer renders a proposal, you can customize it using really simple tools. And I find that having this three-dimensional rendering that you can manipulate is really intuitive compared to a lot of other systems where you have to define these elements before the software renders the guide. For example, you may choose to customize the guide based on your intended surgical approach. For a flapless case, you may want to completely remove the flange around the area where the implant's being placed. Or for a case where you intend to flap, you may choose to place a small buccal flange to help aid in flap reflection. Planmeca has created these really intuitive tools within their surgical guide design module, like the eraser tool that I'm showing here, or the ability to add bars for support with just a couple clicks of a mouse. The beautiful thing about this is that we're able to generate these complicated and customized surgical guides using seemingly simple tools in a relatively short amount of time. This video, like the others, is in real time, and I'm doing that to show that just in the span of a couple minutes, you can create these customized surgical guides for your patients for implant placement. The final thing that I like to do typically is put windows through my guide so that I can verify seating at the time of surgery. In this case, I find that canines and premolars through the incisal or cuspal edge, extending from the buccal all the way to the lingual surface, gives me that ability to verify that the guide is fully seated at the time of surgery. And here we are. We have a completely rendered surgical guide, and all we have to do now is tell the computer to generate the STL image so that we can send it out for 3D printing. And once we've completed the plan, the software incorporates all of the aspects of our plan together within one view in the 3D file of the patient's chart. The final step before surgery is to 3D print our surgical guide. And in this case, we're going to take the rendering of the model, which is exported from Remexis as an STL file, and prepare it using the software from Planmeca. And with a couple clicks of the mouse, we can send it to their 3D printer called the Creo. Setup of the 3D printer simply requires inserting a cartridge of the FDA-approved surgical guide resin, and then we remove the printed guide from the build plate, take off the print supports, do an alcohol wash, and a final UV cure, and then we can insert the surgical guide sleeve that we had planned in the implant planning module. These surgical guides that you 3D print are every bit as good as something you would receive from a professional laboratory, and we found that the amount of time and money that you save by printing these in-house certainly justifies the effort. Once you have that surgical guide in hand, you're ready for guided implant surgery. And I joke that the surgery itself is the easiest part of the entire process because you've worked out all of the details ahead of time. Because guided implant surgery takes so much of the risk out of the entire implant surgical process, and because we have this efficient, effective workflow to plan our cases and make surgical guides in-house, I find that I'm creating surgical guides for just about every case that I do. And here are the results from this case. An overlay of the postoperative periapical radiograph over the original plan that we had created from our CT and our prosthetic design, as well as our final restored result. I find that I'm getting these perfect results based on these plans on every case that I do. Planmeca makes exceptional hardware, but I think the really wonderful thing is when it's tied together by their software system, Remexis, that allows you to accomplish all of these digital dentistry tasks within one single platform. And for me, I think applying these things surgically is a really good example of how we can bring all of this to life. It's really been my pleasure and honor to talk to you guys today. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Dr. Evans. Wow, implants made better and easier with great technology. Very inspiring for clinicians and patients alike. We now have two other inspiring professionals with us here in the studio. We have Sirpa Pöyry, with 30 years of experience as an endodontist and 10 years of experience with CBCT technology and instruments, together with Heli-Anna Pulin, the lady whose team is behind the magic in Remexis. Ladies, welcome.
Thank you, Andre.
All right, we were just guided through a great implant workflow. It's easy to see how the software ties all of the equipment together, but does the Remexis software offer tools for many different specialties?
Good question. Yes, our software supports several specialist workflows. The same basic idea applies to all of them. We use the same software to acquire and scan the patient data, make the diagnosis, plan the treatment, and then finally design the treatment device. For example, in orthodontics, we scan the patient data, we plan the tooth movements, we create 3D models that we 3D print and use to create orthodontic treatment devices such as clear aligners. Orthognathic surgery is another example. We start with the digital impression and CBCT images, we plan the surgery, design the guide, which we 3D print and use in actual surgery. Again, everything happens using just one software. No files are imported or exported, and there's no need to learn to use different software systems.
I've understood that implant guide design is very easy using the software. Is it compatible with various implant systems and different types of cases?
It certainly is easy. We put a lot of effort into improving the usability of our latest software release, Romexis 6. However, intuitive and easy to use software isn't just something that is nice to have, but it can actually change how dentistry is done. When software is easy, fast, and economical to use, clinicians increasingly create implant guides in-house, and more implants are placed using the guide. This leads the implant placement become more accurate and treatment results improving, which is of course very good for the patient. Romexis software can be used for tooth-supported guides for single implants, but it also allows clinicians to design guides for more challenging cases, with multiple implants, mucosa-supported guides for edentulous patients, or even guides for endodontic treatment.
And now, a couple of questions for you, Sirpa, if I may. Now, the 3D imaging certainly seems to be very beneficial for implant planning. We've seen that. You see the bone. As an endodontist, you look at the roots of the teeth. So, do you consider CBCT images to be equally beneficial for endodontics?
Absolutely. With the right kind of resolution settings for CBCT, stable patient positioning, or Planmeca Calm to compensate the patient movement, you can get very detailed views of the root morphology. In root treatment, the structures are very narrow. Before 3D, it was sometimes hard to determine number and shape of roots. 2D images didn't give sufficient information of that. Now I can navigate in the root canals, look at the complete structure and gain good understanding down to every individual root. When the treatment starts, I'm much more prepared and know exactly what to expect.
Navigate the root canals. I love that metaphor. Thank you, Sirpa. Beautiful.
I love it.
But do you also find that 3D visualizations are a good communication tool, when discussing upcoming treatment with your patients?
I always want to use all available images as aids when communicating with my patients, both in terms of outcome and cost, so that they are confident when accepting my treatment plan. Compared to traditional intraoral images, 3D rendering of a tooth is much more easier to visualize. Patients understand what's on the screen, and the treatment steps need to be taken next.
Sirpa, thank you very much. Helianna, thank you also very much. And we now give the floor to the last workflow session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, Tony Manito here again, and I want to share with you my experiences using Planmeca's technology for single visit CAD/CAM restorations, both as a practitioner and as a dental educator. I titled this a win-win situation because I really believe everybody wins when you do CAD/CAM dentistry. The patients absolutely love it because they don't have to take off work and come in for a second visit to get their crown delivered. They get it all done in one visit. They don't have to wear a temporary and maybe risk having that temporary come off at the worst possible moment. As a practitioner, I love not having to make a temporary, for one thing, and deal with the fact that they do from time to time come off. The other thing that I love is how efficient we can be with our chair time with these single visit restorations as well. So I really think everybody benefits when you do chairside single visit dentistry. And so I want to highlight Planmeca's technology, both the hardware and the software, over the next few minutes, because for me, that's really been the key to my success. And I've had an opportunity over the last 10 years to use several different CAD/CAM systems, but when the time came to purchase one for my practice, it was the Planmeca Fit system that I chose, and I'll share with you the reasons that I did that. This presentation basically highlights my own personal philosophies as a dentist. This is not the only way to do CAD/CAM dentistry, but one of the things that CAD/CAM dentistry allows you to do is very conservative preparations, and that's what I love about it personally. So you can absolutely do more conventional crown preparations and still do CAD/CAM 100%. But for me, in my practice, the real benefit that I get is the satisfaction coming from being more conservative. So what that means is that I do a lot of partial coverage inlays and onlays. When I do have to do a full coverage restoration, it's usually something like this, which is, I term this a crown lay or an occlusal onlay. But basically, this is a full coverage restoration where the margins are kept well supergingival to allow for good isolation. It also gives us a ton of enamel with which to use for bonding. And it also keeps a lot of the strength of the tooth. There's something called a biorim, which is basically the axial wall of the tooth that serves as a huge source of strength for any given tooth. And if we are able to conserve that, we basically are able to keep a lot of the inherent strength of that tooth structure intact versus a conventional crown prep, which takes away all that axial wall and weakens the tooth overall long term. The other thing that we need to make sure that we do is have excellent isolation and bonding technique. If we're going to preserve all this enamel, it's important that we utilize it for bonding purposes. And we need a really predictable material. And for me, in my practice, that's been milled lithium disilicate Emax for about the last 9 or 10 years. And I feel like it's never let me down. And we've really pushed the limits in what we can do with this material. And the case that I'm going to share with you is another example of pushing the limits with bonded Emax. We'll get to that here in a little bit. Really where it all begins as far as the technology goes is data input, right? We have to create a 3-dimensional model of our work. And so the Emerald S, I know Wally talked to you about this scanner. The Emerald S is a really nice scanner. For me, in a single visit workflow, the important thing that the Emerald S does is it allows me to visualize my finish line. How important is that? All right, for a CAD/CAM dentist, you have to know exactly what is tooth and what is tissue. And the Emerald S has an option to take an HD photo of your preparation that it pins over your 3D model. And when you're marking your margin, it really highlights where those finish lines are and allows you to be far more accurate during that process. So I really, really love that feature. Once we have our data input, now it's time to design a crown. And so PlanCAD Easy is a fantastic software especially for single units like we're doing mostly in a CAD/CAM process. I use it for multiple units as well, but most of the cases that I see are single units, and it's very user-friendly, even for new users. There's a lot of tools within it that allow new users to be successful, which I love because I also teach at a dental school, and so I have to teach dental students how to use this software as well. So it's nice that those tools are available. Having a precision milling unit to fulfill and carry out that design is an important feature as well. And this is something that I don't think many companies talk about with regards to their milling units, but the final finish of the restoration that comes out of the PlanMill 30S is fantastic. And I had to show a picture
of this case that I'm about to talk about, because the intaglio surface of this, look how smooth and precise that intaglio surface is. It's a true representation of my preparation. And what we'll find is that the fits that we get from this mill are really second to none, even better than often what I get back from my laboratory. The other thing I like about the Planmeca 30S is it's a really good looking mill. I mean, we in my practice put this in a place where our patients will see it. And because we really are proud of the fact, one, that we do single visit dentistry, but it's a good looking machine. It's a conversation starter. I will bring patients over when their crowns are milling and show them the process. I show every new patient our technology as well. This is something that I think we are very proud of, and is something that has helped me build my practice over the years. All right, let's talk about this case. So this was a fellow dentist, one of my colleagues who came to see me, and he hadn't been to the dentist in a little while. Clearly, this first molar is overdue for some treatment. And so you can see we've got not only a fractured tooth, but we got a fractured amalgam. Generally, the first step for me is to take out the old restoration and kind of see what I have. It's much easier to visualize any fracture lines, or also tell if the tooth is going to need endodontic treatment or not. In this case, we decided to move forward with a build-up and a preparation. And once again, this is that occlusal overlay preparation that I'm very fond of. If you look carefully, you can see that the periphery of that is all enamel, and not just a little bit of enamel, but a lot of enamel. We have almost a millimeter of enamel circumferentially, including a lot of it on the buccal cusp where the function, most of the function of this restoration is going to be. So we're going to have a good support structure for our final restoration. Once the prep is done, it is time to get an intraoral scan. And Wally talked about the Emerald S, so I'm not going to dwell on it too much, but I will tell you a story because my assistants do most of the scanning in my practice. And we have several different intraoral scanners, and a few of them are quite large. In fact, my dental assistant is a very petite woman, and one of the scanners requires her using two hands to actually manipulate it. So given her choice, she loves to use the Emerald S because of how lightweight and ergonomic it is, and it allows her to be successful. So I will basically allow her to choose what she uses as far as scanners, and most of the time, I would say a vast majority of the time, she chooses the Emerald S for those intraoral scans. So what is important in a digital impression? What are we looking for as far as a CAD/CAM workflow? What do we really need to make sure we capture? Well, of course, we need to make sure that we capture our finish line. That's really important. This type of restoration where all the margins are super gingival is very simple to mark a margin. That's another benefit of a preparation like this. But even if you have a preparation that goes subgingival, with the HD snapshot, it allows you to really visualize what is tooth and what is tissue, and it makes the margin marking process much more accurate. We also need to make sure that we've captured those proximal surfaces of the adjacent teeth. Remember, we're going to be building a restoration, and we're going to have all the control we want to manage the strength of those proximal contacts. And if we haven't imaged sufficiently those proximal surfaces, we won't be very accurate when we create that crown. The goal here is to create a crown that needs no adjustments, and it has been done. I've done it many times, but the quality of the scan is directly related to how accurate that restoration will fit. So it's important that you capture those proximal surfaces as well. And then we need to make sure that we are capturing enough data in order to create a complete digital model. So I always recommend getting one tooth distal and two teeth mesial to the prep tooth that you're working on, just to give the software enough common data points to create that complete digital model for you to work off of. Now we're going to go into PlanCAD Easy, and we're going to start to design our crown. The first step of that is marking your margin. And here we use the lasso tool to do that very quickly. You can then fine tune that margin with a couple of other tools, move margin and add segments. And one thing I really like about PlanCAD Easy is it gives you very simple ways of doing design work. However, if you want to use more complex tools for greater control, you can do that as well. So in this instance, we had an open contact on the distal. Using the expand tool to just push that design out to create a contact is the simple way to do it. However, for me, I like a little more control. So I would personally use my favorite tool, one of my favorite tools, rubber tooth, to not only close that contact, but also create a little bit more of a broad contact to limit the chance of potentially having a food trap situation that we create. So I like the control that certain tools give me, and those are just things that I've learned over the years. You can still get to where you need to be using those simpler solutions. Another example of this is occlusion. There's literally a one button solution for creating equal contacts in your occlusion. So, a very simple way to do it. In this case, though, we had very minimal material thickness, and so I wanted to have a little bit more control of my occlusal contacts. So I used the slice tool, and once again went to rubber tooth, which I think is maybe the most powerful tool in all of CAD/CAM across all systems. You can just grab that design and basically move it to create an ideal cusp to fossa relationship. This is a really powerful tool that gives you total control over the final product. Another one of my favorite tools is define feature. And at the very end, I like to add some more anatomy into my design. And so define feature allows you just to make a tooth that's going to look like a tooth. I love a bunch of anatomy, as much anatomy as I can get in my posteriors. I want those teeth to look every bit as good as if I had sent them off to a lab to have them created. And this is what our final design looks like. If you look at our material thickness, you can see that we are quite thin in certain areas. And so, the fact that we're able to dial in that occlusion to put those occlusal contacts exactly where we wanted them, right over that shelf of enamel where that Emax is going to be well supported once it's bonded into place. That sort of control and that knowledge of dental materials is what really can make or break a case in any given situation. One of the nice things about PlanMill 30S is it gives us a couple different milling options. There are two modes in which we can mill, standard and detailed. And you can see I've shown you the differences in the size of the burr that mill the intaglio surface for each of those options. And most of my cases I mill on standard mode. Average crown mill time in standard mode is about 10 or 11 minutes, which is very, very fast, especially for the result that you get, and especially in fact that the fact that it's a single spindle mill is quite impressive. However, in this case, because we were so thin, we milled it in detailed mode, and that milling time is about 16 minutes. But the finish that you get on that restoration is very, very good. I think it's as good as any mill that I've ever used over the course of the last 10 years. So here I am loading that Emax block into the milling system. As I said, this is a very good looking mill. We keep it in a place where people can see it and where our patients can come and see their crown being made. And I love to sit and just watch and talk to them about their crown being made, either myself or my assistant, answer any questions for them, kind of talk through the process. It's kind of a neat thing and something that we've definitely taken advantage of to build our practice over the years. This is the final design straight out of the mill, and you can see that occlusal anatomy that we added is looking really good. So this is a really nice result that we got. And I just wanted to take a creative photo to kind of show you just how thin that restoration ended up being. Now we are ready to do some staining and glazing. And we use the Emax stain and glaze kit for this. And I don't try to do anything real fancy, but I do want to add a little bit of stain to the occlusal surface just to give it some depth. Otherwise, it just looks very flat. I take a lot of pride in these restorations, and I want to make sure they look every bit as good as if I had sent them to a laboratory. So here is what it looks like once it comes out of the furnace. And now we are ready to deliver. Really, the biggest thing as far as delivery goes is really good isolation and really good dental materials and knowledge of how those dental materials are supposed to be used. I love particle air abrasion to clean the tooth off to make sure we have a nice surface with against which to bond. And here we are with our final result. You remember where we started with that broken down amalgam, cracked tooth. We were able to reinforce that tooth structure while still being really conservative as far as how much healthy tooth we removed. And when you look at this restoration from the buccal, you can see how well that Emax blends to that enamel margin. So patient was really happy with this. 0 occlusal adjustments were necessary, so I did not have to grind on that crown lay at all, which is always a nice thing. It just means that the software is so accurate that the settings that we dialed in on it were perfect and did not require a single adjustment. So this is just one example of many restorations that we've done using Planmeca's technology in a single visit CAD/CAM workflow. I hope that you seriously consider adopting this in your own practice. Not only is it productive and efficient, it is a heck of a lot of fun. So I appreciate you joining me for the last 15 minutes, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the Digital Dentistry World Tour.
Thank you for those excellent insights. But now I have Planmeca's true digital pioneer, Petri Kajander. Welcome to the World Tour.
Thank you, Andre. Thank you.
Tell me, why do they call you Planmeca's true digital pioneer?
Well, Andre, we have to go back to 1997 when I joined Planmeca. And at that time, there was really no digital workflows available in the dental field. And I have been walking together with these things to be involved in this digital front until today. And look around you now, all the equipment, digital things. So I'm starting now to be very happy about that.
Well, what a beautiful career. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You know, single visit dentistry. It's a hot topic today. Well, for me as a patient, it sounds great. Isn't it a clear advantage for clinics to offer it?
Well, sure. It's very, very good to let the patient to choose a place who are giving single visit dentistry.
Yeah.
So then this single dentistry, you don't need to have any temporary fillings, and they can easily crack or even fall off. So that it's a clear advantage.
Yeah. And how about these risks that are obviously related to COVID and single visits? Doesn't it make even more sense to offer it?
Well, Andre, we are living very tough times nowadays. Yeah. And this single visit dentistry, there's no second visit. Less people to meet, less risk to either spread the disease or to be infected by yourself. So clear advantages.
Different clinicians have obviously different preferences in the ways they work. So does Planmeca support materials for several manufacturers?
Absolutely. We are supporting a wide range of materials, and behind me here there's a lot of them. So we need to meet the different indications in the clinic with these materials. And just to mention a few of them, we support from Ivoclar, of course, Emax, and then Empress and Tetricad, and so on. And from Vita, Enamic, Suprinity, so big names, and even Straumann Nice. So to say some of them.
All right, and now a question on 3D printing. It sure looks like a remarkable tool for quickly creating guides, but are there other applications for printing in dentistry?
Absolutely, absolutely. So in addition to the surgical guides, we can print models, and we can print splints, we can print temporary crowns, and then we can print different kind of trays for like a traditional impression taking. And in addition to that, we can, in the near future, print permanent crowns and also clear aligners for orthodontic treatments.
Wow.
Yeah, but let me show. And if the printer is not printing anything. During that time, you can make Christmas presents.
Oh, the Eiffel Tower. Can I take one for my children?
Absolutely.
I have 2 children.
Take Paris home when you can't travel.
Merci beaucoup, c'est gentil, merci. Bravo.
Very good, very good.
And now speaking about ceramics, we have a question on ceramics. The aesthetics results that can be achieved with ceramic dentistry seem to be remarkable. That's obvious. But what about durability? Is ceramic dentistry really the way to go here?
Well, Andre, there's a lot of studies, scientific studies made from ceramics. And one of them is from EMAX. And after 10 years of usage, over 90%, to be more precise, nearly 97% of all the cases were still in good shape and intact in the mouth. And there's other research going as well on the ceramics, and they all tell the same story. They are much more longer durable than any other like composites or something else.
Now that I think about it, my brother-in-law, dentist, did ceramics work on me 20 years ago, and they're still there. That's evidence. Anecdotal, but still evidence. And the next question is about Planmeca's Emerald scanner. Everybody loves that one. But hey, they're used to getting updates and improvements and new features all the time. Most of them made possible through software updates. So is it safe to assume that more are on the way?
Well, for sure. For sure. Our software development is an always ongoing process. And we are all the time trying to make the scanner's end-user usability better, the software faster, more easy to use. And then once in a while we are coming up with new hardware as well for supporting these, because the dental clinics, they will get new digital workflows that they need to fulfill. So yes, we do.
Great. Petri, thank you so much. We wish you at least another 23 digital years at Planmeca.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Petri. And now we move on to the Q&A part of our world tour. We now move to the Q&A part of our virtual world tour, starting with a question for Dr. Renee. What are the benefits of CAD/CAM dentistry?
CAD/CAM dentistry has completely revolutionized our practice. Single visit dentistry, especially in light of COVID-19 and the pandemic, patients don't want to have to come back another time to the office. And we're able to take care of that restoration right there, an hour and a half, 2-hour appointment for them, and deliver high quality milled ceramics. It's really fun, and it's the cool factor for the patients. They think that we're the most high-tech office in the world, and to us, digital dentistry is not necessarily new, but for them, it's very new and it's very exciting.
And this question is for Dr. Manito. How has CAD/CAM dentistry changed your restorative philosophy?
Oh, CAD/CAM dentistry has changed my restorative philosophy. It has made me far more conservative as a dentist. It gives you a set of tools to be able to do partial coverage bonded ceramic restorations in a single visit, which is incredibly beneficial for the patient. There's tons of studies out there that show that longevity of partial coverage restorations is equal to or better than full coverage restorations. There's also a lot of literature that says that these partial coverage restorations help strengthen the tooth. So really, we're able to do better dentistry for our patients, and we're able to do it in less time. So it's really changed me from being kind of a crownodontist, as we would say here in the United States, to more of a conservative dentist, doing dentistry that I really feel very passionate is going to be better for the patient long term.
Thank you. And the next question goes to Dr. Evans. Can experienced older practitioners benefit from adapting these digital surgical techniques?
Yeah, I get this question all the time of, hey, I'm an older practitioner. Is it worth it for me to jump in and make the leap into digital dentistry in general, or buying the equipment and software? And the answer is absolutely yes. one of the things that I like to really emphasize, especially on the surgical side, is this technology. It allows us to accomplish what we're trying to do better, taking those things that we do every day in clinic and increasing and improving the quality of the clinical outcomes, which of course is our fundamental goal. This technology allows us to do that.
We now have Mr. X-ray back in the studio. Timo Müller, welcome back.
Thank you, Andre.
You know that as a patient, you can easily feel claustrophobic in an X-ray setting or with X-ray machines, but yours looks very different. What do patients say about the Planmeca the VISO unit?
Well, Planmeca's design really differs from most of the other manufacturers. We call it face-to-face patient positioning system. So as you see, we can face the patient right in front of her or him. Patients feel comfortable when they can see the operator of the unit. It also is easier for operator to position the patient.
And it seems to be easy to adjust the size of the area you want to image. Now, how much of an adjustment range do you have on these units?
Well, good question. First of all, the area that we are discussing about can be called field of view, FOV. As we have several CBCT units in our portfolio, everybody can choose their fitting to clinical needs. So maximum field of view kind of defines the unit that you need. For Planmeca VISO G7, like we have here, has the adjustment from 3 × 3 centimeter volume up to 30 × 30 centimeter. This is one key reason many radiology centers and hospitals have chosen VISO G7 as the right unit for them.
Excellent. And, treatment plans are often based on X-ray images and even, they can be used to confirm treatment results. Should we as patients be concerned about, the X-ray doses that come from these devices?
Yes. Patients nowadays are more and more cautious about the X-ray doses, and rightfully so. Especially when imaging pediatric patients, it's important to keep doses low as ALADA principle kind of sets. And it means as low as diagnostically achievable. We at Planmeca have done much research and put a lot of effort reducing effective doses without compromising diagnostic image quality. I dare to say that we have succeeded. The Planmeca ultra-low dose protocol is golden standard in dentistry today and answers one of the most difficult questions that the radiology has in these days.
But, in addition to X-ray images, you can also take 3D photos of patients with Planmeca imaging units. Now, how do you do that exactly?
Well, Planmeca Pro Face 3D face photos can be taken in the same session as CBCT images. The VISO unit has 4 built-in optical cameras that can be utilized when positioning the patient and adjusting the field of view. But the cameras can also be used for 3D patient photography. The result is core of captivating virtual patient, which can be used for preoperative planning, postoperative comparisons, and patient communication.
Thank you so much, Timo. Great technology. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
And we now come, unfortunately, to the end of our digital dentistry virtual world tour. And I would like to invite Jouko Nykänen to join me back on stage to discuss all of the things we've seen and heard today. Jouko, what a world tour!
Indeed.
Hey, but what do you think? Did we meet our objectives for this meeting?
Well, I think I would really love to extend warmest thanks to our remarkable speakers and also to our team making all this possible, but above all to our great audience. Total number of registrants was already climbing. When I last checked, it was several thousands. Yeah. So who knows how many we finally got, but it's a huge number. Yeah. And we truly enjoyed the event, and I hope everybody learned a lot tonight. But our final success, as always, is in the hands of the customers. And this concerns not only this event, but our everyday work. How well we can help the dental professionals and patients with their daily challenges and opportunities.
We heard so many great things about the Planmeca offering tonight. But if you had to narrow it down to 3 key differentiators, what would they be?
Of course, there's numerous points which we could raise here, but probably the most important point is the patient's point of view. From patient's view, we can really enjoy that they can always safely enjoy consistent clinical results. And they are delivered always in a predictable and safe way. And then secondly, of course, it's the clinician's point of view, where we can offer a complete digital workflow for all specialists, with digital touch points helping during all steps of the work. And everything is always documented, and the workflow is seamless and truly trouble-free. And thirdly, of course, last but not least, there's the business perspective of the clinic. We can simply reduce the patient treatment times, and we can increase the patient flow and ensure that you have total control of the whole clinic process based on real facts, not assumptions or guesswork. And it's always easy to monitor the improvements over time, and you can measure how these changes in your way of working impact your business.
Those are important differentiators, absolutely. But hey, what should our listeners do next?
Well, now that we have all heard these remarkable talks from our excellent speakers and hopefully really learned a lot, let us not leave these ideas here, but let's approach our local representatives, our local offices, and the whole Planmeca team is very gladly available for all of you further informations, meetings, consultations, hands-on demonstrations, so that you could really see and feel hands-on what Planmeca digital solutions are about. So we are all at your service, always close to you, wherever you are.
So wherever you are, we want to say once again to all of you, thank you for tuning in, and have a very safe and productive end of year. Thank you, and see you next year.
Thank you. See you next year. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you.